We're live. We are absolutely live for a Wednesday edition of the Slate. It's the gorgeous golf gurus, Reed T. Fowler and Jeff Ulrich. I am Emerson Latzia, DK on the ones and twos, Eamon producing, steering this ship, attempting to keep us on the tracks here. Guys, it's good to see everybody. The Florida Swing is here, man. Florida Swing is here. The Honda Classic is here. Look at O-Town next week. Then they're up at TPC Sawgrass, Woo. Baby. I love life, man. And I really, really love golf. And I love this hour every Wednesday with you guys. How are y'all doing today? Jeff, you look like yourself. How you doing?
Thank you. I do look very much like myself today. Feel just like myself too. No, good, man. I mean, excited for this event. It's weaker field. But I mean, we don't have many sports going on right now. And I mean, the Florida Swing, things just get ratcheted up. You know, we got Bay Hill, the Players coming up, man. And then once the Players is done, it's basically just waiting for Augusta. So this is a good time of the year to get into golf. DFS betting, been sitting on the sidelines, man. I mean, get in. This is always a fun event too. This is definitely one of my favorite events. I mean, I'll probably say that a few times here coming up, but like Riviera is good. I actually like this one more than Riviera. This course is just, it's so fun down the stretch. And oftentimes we get just craziness. So it's gonna be a fun week.
I don't know. I think sometimes this course, I think the reason the field maybe has like weakened a little bit over the years, like Reed, tell me what you think here too, because this used to be one of the stronger fields on tour because a lot of the guys live within a 3-wood like of this course. They're all around Palm Beach County, but like, I think the course at times can be unjustly like penalizing in a way. Like you can hit like a really good shot. Next thing you know, you're hitting out of a hazard, or it's like your ball just happened to trickle into the water or something like that. Like, I don't know. You're not always getting rewarded for quality shots on this course.
Yeah. It's always windy. It's always windy there. And you play, like we both played in Florida. Jeff, you've probably played in Florida at some point in your life.
This guy plays golf once a year.
That's true.
It's tube socks.
Crocs. Hey, Crocs are a utility, baby.
Crocs.
I know.
Utility club.
You make fun of me, don't diss Crocs. They're
no, that's what I'm saying. You can get a lot of use out of the Crocs, but like this is open. This is open season, not in terms of a tournament, but it's like these courses are wide open. There's no trees. There's all water everywhere. That is quintessential Florida golf, is water on every single hole. Yeah. Right. That's what you get. Wind and water. Most guys don't want to play that, especially if they're heavy on the West Coast swing, even if they live there in Florida or the Jupe life. Like it's still a long travel. Again, they don't travel the same way we do, but then now you have to play one of the toughest courses, only 2 par 5s, and you're going to grind. And a lot of these guys, shocker, they don't want to grind until it gets closer to Augusta. And so some guys, maybe like a Brooks, looks at this field and says, I live really close. I need to up my OWGR. Let me win this damn thing. And some guys take a look at it like, hey, I've seen guys, deep in the odds and some randos winning. Maybe I can pick up that elusive first tour victory here, because this is a course that really panders and really caters towards everybody. If you're able to like avoid the hazards, right? Avoid the sand and avoid the water.
It's been moved around the schedule a lot too, late, the Honda Classic. Yeah. So I think what most top players are doing, they have to choose between Riviera and Honda, because if you play Riviera and Honda, then you're going to skip the Arnold Palmer because you're not playing 4 weeks into the Players, especially with this stretch of courses. So either you're playing Honda, Palmer, Players, or you're playing Riviera, probably skipping the Honda and then playing Palmer, Players. So, and like, because Bay Hill is like a really tough test too. The last 2 years, Bay Hill has like played just as tough as PGA Nationals. So most guys just don't want to play like 4 tough courses in a row. And that's what makes the swing so good. But it does feel like, you know, as you mentioned, the Honda right now is the odd man out, which is a shame because it's a good event, good course.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of expensive dudes. You kind of mentioned the weaker field, both of you guys, a lot of parity. So is the approach, Jeff, either in betting or DFS, like how different is it for a week like this where there may be like 1 or 2 big dogs and then kind of the rest, it's just a crapshoot?
I mean, I think it lends itself more to a stars and scrubs approach. I mean, it's like a higher variance, you know, thing, but you know, I don't think many people are going to be making lineups with like 2 guys over 10K this week because they don't want to dip down into like the 6,500 range, and they certainly don't want to dip down in that range twice. So you're gonna see a lot of people hammering like, you know, like the mid 7Ks. You know, a player we've mentioned on the Sweat a couple times, CT Pan, Chris Kirk, a guy I like. You know, like these players are just they're going to be like the safe havens, right? Like, oh, okay, they have some good course history. They're playing okay. Let's just roster them. Then I don't have to dip down and roster like the Vaughn Taylors and Doug Gims of the world this week. But this event, as we've seen, those are like those guys just show up. And yeah, it's really hard to figure. But if you can find a couple down there, and then I've got a couple names to throw out there down there. If you're
dude. I mean,
I think piling on like Brooks and like another top player, like an Usti or like a Berger is a good strategy for GPPs this week. So you got to kind of just embrace the variance with this one, because this is one thing, regardless of field, this is a high attrition event. You're not going to see many 6 of 6 lineups this year, at least in my opinion. We never do at this event. So.
All right, KOEPKA, you and I, Jeff, talked about it on Monday. Reed, I don't think we've talked about him a whole lot, but he's a hard one to peg, right? Because what did he finish in Scottsdale? Here we go. All right, so T3, and yes, it was the poor driving on Sunday. We've mentioned that a bunch over the past couple of days, but then missing the cut at the Genesis. So, like, which version of him shows up? I can't remember if it was you or Jeff this week on the Sweat too, who said, what, Brooks made a comment about how he's like pissed or embarrassed about his world golf ranking or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, any chip that he can manifest or he can create, he's going to do it. And look, if I were him too, like how many majors that he wins when he's touting himself as the best player, and, you know, he feels confident in himself in round 1 at a major and he ends up losing, like those things are going to happen with Brooks. And look, I'm not worried about the Genesis, especially for someone of his caliber. Like the missed cuts, right, at Farmers and Genesis, especially on the West Coast, like I don't really mind. He's never liked playing on the West Coast, even though he has solid finishes at majors. He's never liked playing on greens. He's mentioned it pretty publicly. He doesn't like it. So I'm not too worried about that, especially after a T3 right before that at WM. But this is what you want, right? This is exactly what you want for DFS, especially for GBPs or outrights, is you want to get these guys like Brooks, who can show you that they have T9, T3, a win in their bag, and or miscuts, because you want that like high volatility. Yeah, of course we would feel comfortable if we just saw top 10, top 12, top 3, top 8, and then he wins. But that's never been Brooks. He like sometimes does that, like leading up to majors, and this is why I kind of like him this week, is that he finds his footing in it, and mentally he's starting to prepare for Augusta right now. And if you can put a win, if you can put 4 good rounds together, because we've seen it, we've seen win like good around the greens or good putting, good driving, good approach in different rounds, different tournaments. If you can put that all together in this specific tournament against this field, like that's what I'm thinking about Brooks. Like mentally, he's now starting to prepare for the Masters. And that's why I like him this week. I'm not worried about miscut last week.
Okay. All right. I mean, he's damn good on like really difficult courses. I think he's around.
When he's runner up 2019 here.
Yeah. Yeah. And did he didn't play last year, right? He and Berger, did they withdraw before teeing off, or was it, I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
after
again,
too.
I think this
it was later.
Sorry. Yeah. I think this event came after the Players last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I think like we just had a lot of guys just skip it for that reason.
Yeah.
Because it was just a natural break. So yeah.
That's right. They were like shuffling everything around, weren't they? Like trying to make up for.
I think the field here last year was actually even weaker than it was this year, for being dead honest. Like if I remember correctly.
And
it was bad
that's the one your boy was who won it last year? Was it Matt Jones?
Matt Jones.
Yeah, that's your guy.
Yes. We've talked a lot about Matt Jones this week, and people asking me whether I think he can repeat. And I mean, look, he's at plus 5,000 the odds. I mean, the guy is. I mean, just to give him some credit. I mean, he's the kind of he doesn't get much talk about. He's not a marquee player. He's won twice on the PGA, man. I mean, he's grinded out a very nice career. He's won some big events over in Australia, like too, against decent fields. So he can play. It's not like I'm discrediting him. I think he's a little bit overvalued. And when a guy like Matt Jones is going to pop up again is, it's a very, very, it's like trying to predict a Jim Herman victory. It's, good luck.
Oh, Herman is a club pro down there in like that neck of the woods, I believe, around Palm Beach County.
No, that's right. Yeah. Did he used to work at the like one of the Trumps or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how many Trump courses are in Florida. Apparently a lot, but
yeah, they're quite a bit, especially in that neck of the woods there. But so he's 41 years old. I forgot he had the 9 under 61 last year in the first round. Talking Matt Jones, because like that's so difficult to do on this course. That just basically he could almost hit cruise control like the rest of the way. I don't think he really had a threat like the next like 3 days. Just don't screw it up.
Aaron Wise was hanging with him. I mean, that's the thing about this event, right? No. I mean, it's hard to make up ground. It's really easy to blow leads, but it's also hard to make up ground. Like you said, I mean, Matt Jones, it was really his tournament to lose because it's so hard to catch a guy. I mean, the greens get firmer as the week goes on. They get more chewed up. The birdies just dry up at this course. So yeah, if you can come out firing, we don't see a ton of like huge comeback winners here. Actually, I was doing some research. The biggest gap that a winner has had here over the last decade after 2 rounds has been 3 shots. So like if your guy is outside of 3 shots after the second round, like it's not looking too great. So that's just some like, in play advice.
Wasn't Matt Jones 3 back after round 2 last year? I think Aaron Wise was 12 under after round 2.
I don't think so.
Because I thought Jones.
I'm pretty sure Jones was like 3 ahead or something.
Was he?
I think you're getting it mixed
up. I know he ended up winning by a tournament tying like 5 strokes as well. And also, I forgot about this. He contended in the 2008 edition of this tournament. He co-led after 54 holes. Co-led after 54 holes with Luke Donald, and he finished T4 that year. I mean, that's way back.
Yeah, I mean, look, like what Jeff is saying, though, I also think that.
Oh no, you're right. Reed was right. He was 3 back after round 2. So Aaron Wise like went nuts in round 2. That's right. So, but then
what the hell did Wise do in the second round if this dude came out with a 9 under 61?
He had like he made like a 63 or something. So Jones was 3 ahead after round 1. He was 3 back after round 2, and then he was 3 ahead again after round 3. So again, volatility is like huge at PGA National.
So, what I was going to say about that is that to what there's one argument where you're saying Jeff is right. Like, look, like it's hard for guys to come back, but I think context needs to be put on that. Is like what type of guys aren't going to be able to come back, right? Like the less than average players who don't have a lot of experience, especially here, are probably in that camp. But I'm not saying Aaron Wise is a top echelon player yet. But if you have guys like the Sanjays of the world, right? Louis, Neiman's, Berger. I mean, maybe not Neiman because I think he might be a little gassed. But Brooks, Billy Horschel, like these guys who are up top, if they're like 4 over through round 1, they're not necessarily out of it because right, like the winning score is probably going to be single digits here.
It's funny you brought up Sanjay. When he won after round 1, he was 6 back of the lead.
Exactly. So that's the player that you want, is that can they bring it back after potentially a bad round? Because you're going to have issues and challenges here no matter what. You're going to put the ball in the water. You might make a 9 on a hole, a little like Emerson at TPC Sawgrass 17 Island Green.
Yeah, chill out, dude.
A little chunky, a little bit, maybe too much time in the sun, maybe a
little. No, what it was I was hungover AF, dude. I was hungover AF. The fact that I was still standing on the 17th, That's awesome. And I parred it if you count the mulligan. And then I had a true par on 18, which is one of the more difficult holes
Yeah, that is a
on
hard
planet
hole.
Earth. So everyone buzz off.
Back off. But yeah, I still think your guy is live. So what that means is that if you're not necessarily getting a lot of exposure to the outright market now, and maybe you don't like the Sanjay or the Brooks or the Louis number like now, and they shoot 2 over, that number is going to drift to a respectable, like maybe plus 3,000, maybe plus 4,000, and that's where you hammer them, because those guys, even if they miss the cut, right, it's still worth that number for these guys at this tournament in this field. Because what have we seen outside of like Neiman and some of these guys who have closed down the stretch, that when it comes Sunday, even Neiman, I was sure that Morikawa was going to make that putt and Neiman was going to bogey. I was absolutely sure of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course he'd be leading for 95% of this tournament and then scale it back when it was 18. And Morikawa, it's the scariest guy to see it, in your rearview mirror. So be patient, because even if your guy's out of it in round 1, or you didn't get a guy at the right number pre-tournament, those could come on Friday.
I was way closer last week.
Oh god,
people like to admit.
Yeah, I know. Everyone just sees wire to wire and think it was like pure domination.
Nope.
But Morikawa too. It's with him, with his game. It's basically if he can figure out the putting, right? Like week in and week out. Hasn't that always kind of been his kryptonite?
Yep. And when he putts like JT, they usually win. And Neiman was like left to right, playing army golf off the tee, and then he hit a beautiful drive on the 72nd hole. But Morikawa was dialed. And how many times have we seen this, guys, from Morikawa? Like on the back 9 on a Sunday or Saturday, this guy absolutely destroys. Or if he's out of it early, he comes back and he goes 9 under to the next 15 holes. He's so good. And so I thought I think it was like 9.5 feet. Very easy putt on 18 at Riviera, and he missed it. And that's when you felt pretty good about your Neiman ticket after you hit the ball in the fairway. So this course, I think, caters towards that, as we've seen, because the winning scores aren't going to be that high.
Man, there was that dude on the DK Sportsbook who put down like 35 grand on Neiman and ended up winning more than $1 million. It's like I said, dude, he must have read your article, Reed.
Yes,
he must have read your article.
I was on vacation stressing out.
I know. I FaceTimed you and you were shirtless by the pool, and it was marvelous.
It was waffle fries, baby. When you get waffle fries in the mix, that is serious business.
Jeff
probably ate 4,500 potatoes in the form of fries on vacation, and also a lot of margaritas.
Jeff is never shirtless when I FaceTime him.
I can't be, because you wouldn't be able to see him. I'm just kidding, Jeff. We need to get you in the sun. But yeah, this is a fun tournament. Like Jeff mentioned, I think this is like, people underestimate. Don't underestimate the field. We're going to see a lot of guys too that you're going to see pop up. It isn't just the Cameron Youngs. You see a lot of young players coming up from Korn Ferry Tour that are playing really, really well, right? Yeah. Aaron Rye, some of these players, Davis Riley, Smotherman is a popular name right now. I like Adam Svensson quite a bit. So there are a lot of guys that you want to see, kind of rise up in notoriety as well.
Jeff, can you explain to me maybe it's the weakness of the field, but why does Tommy Fleetwood have the second best odds to win this thing? Even shorter odds than your boy Louis, because he doesn't have a tour card, has not won over here, like in America. Neither is Louis, but at least Louis has a major to his name here. Like what's going on with that? Am I missing something here?
I mean, it speaks to the weakness of the field. It speaks to the weakness of the favorites, right? I mean, Sanjay being the favorite, we like Sanjay, but I mean, he's like 24th in the world or something. Like we wouldn't label him as a top 10 player. And then you've got Brooks, who's like the biggest name value. He's out of form. Berger was injured last month and is coming off a missed cut. So we can't pump him out too much. It's just Tommy Fleetwood's coming in. He's been okay over in Europe. He's posted like some top 15s. I think he had like one top 10. And he's finished top 5 at this event the last 2 times he's played it. The only 2 times he's played it. So you're getting good course history. You're getting a guy who's been more consistent than all the other big names. And you're just getting weak players at the top. And it's led to Fleetwood getting inflated odds. Plus, everybody just seems to like Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, Fleetwood, I got to get on him. Like, he's going to win soon. I mean, that was like 5 years ago that was that narrative with Tommy Fleetwood. So lots of stuff going into it. I mean, it's just a player who kind of gets pumped up a little bit. Honestly, he's kind of like the English Ricky Fowler, if we're being honest. People love to bet him, and I think his number just always seems to get a little bit inflated. So
that's right, man. I remember that. Ricky Fowler. Reed, you're not you weren't not a huge fan of Ricky Fowler this week, are you?
I mean, he's got a great last name and probably one of the best in the entire world. Yes. But no, I don't like Ricky at this juncture. You got to see something from it. And look, this is a place where you think that like Gary Woodlands of the world, Ricky Fowlers, who have played well here previously, can maybe find some form. But there's just like something with Ricky right now is just not clicking, right? And it doesn't it just doesn't feel like if he has a few good holes or a good round going, he hasn't been able to put it all together. And when you see that where his price tag is, even in the odds or DraftKings, like there's nothing really, because same thing with Patrick Reed right now, right? But at least Patrick Reed has won and he can win. We've seen him win out of obscurity before. Ricky Fowler hasn't been relevant for a long time. And it's discouraging, right? If you're Ricky, because you were once the top 5 player in the world.
Yeah.
And
Players
now you've
champion.
fallen. Players champion, and now you've fallen to where now you're next to the odds of guys that probably weren't even on the PGA Tour. And let's not, like, Ricky has been on tour for a long time. Like, he has been on tour for over 10 years, I think, right? So it's that he's at plus 6,500. Like, why is Lucas Glover there? Why is Brendan Todd next to him? Russell Knox, like KH Lee is in lower odds than Ricky Fowler. So there's other guys. Jeff mentioned, we talked about CT Pan. Michael Thompson is there. Even Sturt Sink. Sturt Sink has like more wins than Ricky Fowler has in the last 5 years, in the last 2 years, in the last 1 year. So like there's just nothing right now that says Ricky's finding it. I'd rather play Gary Woodland at the same number in odds or probably in DraftKings pricing.
I could see Ricky like making the cut here and not really making noise, but like having like maybe like getting in the top 25. His around the green game has been okay. His approach game is good. And he is a slick like sand player. So he's going to be able to handle like the missed greens. But the problem is, I mean, there's just really like nothing that's clicking super well for him. And the putting has been terrible. And you can make the argument, well, we're changing putting surfaces. That's great. But I mean, he putted poorly at the Amex and the Phoenix Open too, which are both Bermuda greens, right? So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how big a deal the move in venues is going to be for that. Putting is just highly variable, so he could spike any week. But if Fowler does anything, I think it's going to be purely because the putter switches. Yeah. And for a cash game play, just because he's got so much experience here, I guess I could see it. But all those guys Reed mentioned, I think have better upside too. I think probably a better chance you see one of those names like click with the top 10 than Ricky. So
like his best finish was a third of the CJ Cup where there was no cut, right?
Hey, yeah. Good for him.
Right, he's got 3 missed cuts and a 55th.
And weirdly enough, like he was really striping it that week. I'm not sure if there's just it's like he's
no
he's
pressure.
Done that. Like he put in that T8 at the PGA. Do you guys remember that? Like he was top 10 there, and there's just like no follow up at all. It's like, okay, I gained like 5 strokes on approach and like putted really well, and it's like 2 weeks later, it's just like back Emerson, to just flat. It's really weird. I mean, from a guy who. He was always a little bit streaky, but his game was just the sharpness and the ability to just like elevate has been deflated. It's weird.
He's like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of how Sergio was at one point, in which like he's one of the better golfers to not win a major. And then you have the list of guys right now, some of the better golfers who haven't even won the PGA Tour, which includes like a Fleetwood. And then I don't know if you want to throw like, Louis in there.
How far is Jupiter from where these guys are?
I mean, depends. Like a lot of them live on like Tiger
500,000 kilometers, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, like Tiger Woods, like Jupiter Island, like it's a stone's throw there. A lot of them are all just live in Palm Beach County. They're all just massive neighborhoods around there or on the beach.
Close to home.
All the English dudes have have houses here too, like Donald, Fleetwood. I think Fleetwood, Westwood.
Yeah, Westwood they consider like a Palm Beach County guy. That's a spot.
That's why
there.
they always play her, because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we're coming over, we're here for Florida. Might as well play.
Yeah,
her.
again,
Same
that was a big reason why like the field used to be so strong here. It used to be like in the 3 years I worked down there, everyone was just like, okay, let's just wait and see. Once Tiger commits, then it's like a lot of them like just start like pouring in because like, okay, this is legit. So Tiger used to play it all the time as well.
Yeah, but then he started to play like API, and then only played 12 tournaments in a year.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you're gonna hear the home field advantage for a lot of these guys because of that. But these guys, like, golf has progressed so much, and the players now that we see, especially the younger guys, the Hoygaards of the world, they're much better than the second or third tier guys 5 years ago. It makes sense. Technology, right? Training systems, yada yada yada. It's all improved and it's all increased. Even the Corn Ferry Tour was better than the web.com, was better than all of that stuff in previous iterations. So like even then, right? The Charles Howell the thirds and I know I talked about Stuart Sink. Those guys I think have less of a chance now with these younger players. And we saw, I mean, Cameron Young looked more poised to win that golf tournament last week than Joaquin Niemann, even though I never was worried about Cameron Young winning. He looked like he should have, like he was the guy in control of that tournament, even though he never had the lead. That's what these guys are now, right? Is they win a lot. He went to Wake Forest with Will Zalatoris. They win a lot there. They win a lot on the Corn Ferry Tour, and they're not scared. They're not scared of these guys anymore. There's no Tiger out there to be scared of anymore.
All right. So before I was thinking if I was going to go with a golfer under 8K, after talking to you guys, I was like, yeah, let me think about Ricky Fowler like a little bit. But you know what? The other Fowler here kind of talked me off of it. And I said to myself, okay, if I'm going to do this like little friendly bet here with Ulrich, and I get to pick any guy under 8K and just kind of go at it, I'm going Sam Ryder. There he is. Way to punch him up. Sam Ryder, dude, on an upward trend here, gentlemen. Upward trend. Just made 4 or 5 cuts on the West Coast. Am I right? What did he finish last week? T26, right frame of mind, entering this tournament here, guys, that he finished T8 at last year. And let's not forget that sexy hole-in-one at the Waste Management. Oh, wait till he aces 17, third and final hole of the Bear Trap. Jeff Ulrich, who is my guy's competition? Who are you rolling with?
I told you, man. I gave you a choice. I gave Emerson a choice. He can pick anyone under 8K this week because I am rolling with my guy, Sung Kang. T26 at Phoenix, gained over 4 strokes on approach. This dude's played the Honda like 8 times before. Loves him some tough courses. Kang's a good putter. Okay. Good Bermuda putting stats. Pretty solid around the green. Get some Sung Kang first round leader bets in, people. He tees off at like 8 a.m. We've seen the leaders here go off early. Matt Jones went off early. My boy Kang is going to bring it. And Rough Rider, Sam, he used up all his magic beans at the last 2 tournaments. You're in trouble. I can't believe you went with this guy. Reed gave you like 5 names. KH Lee.
Sometimes you got to pave your own path. So many guys
you could have picked, and you picked Rough Rider.
Well, you know why,
Jeff? A rough ride
you know why? Because his new BFF, Jason Sobel, also likes Sam Ryder. So he
does he really? Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, he also likes Sam Ryder, especially down here at this range. And look, I think both are good. I think good. I think Ryder's, not a terrible pick. Would it have been my first choice in that range? Probably not.
All right. Well, who's your first choice in that range?
I'm talking about below 8,000. Like,
yeah. Let's do it. You can get in on this, and if for some reason I lose, you could pay Jeff the $20 for me.
Oh, got it. Look, I'd love to go with Jeff's guy Chris Kirk, just so I can put it to him when Chris Kirk does well. But I don't think he will. You know what? I like my man here, Garrick. Picture, Garrick Higgo.
Oh, Higgo.
He doesn't even have a picture, guys.
It's not good.
Give me some Garrick Higgo, big lefty, already winner on the PGA Tour last year at the Palmetto Cheese Championship. He's won at every level. He's got wins on the DP World Tour. he's the type of guy that I think can play well. So give me a little Garrick HIGGO. Again, not the best in this range. I'm going all South Africans. I even like Dylan Fratelli. I like Dylan Fratelli as well. But
Reed actually wasn't on vacation. I was just brainwashing him the whole week to where he
This
only
is-
picks South African golfers now.
yeah, man.
This is
When you
amazing.
said that, when you said that in our group chat, I go, oh my God, like Ulrich's got to go change his pants right now that you're backing all of his favorite South African golfers. Like, Ulrich, just moved to South Africa already, man.
Hey, it's a beautiful place.
It is. That's what I hear. A lot of great white sharks too.
A lot of big gray.
They won't be able to
streets out
see
there.
you, Jeff, because you're so pale. They'll
They will be able to
just
see
think
you.
you're like a jellyfish.
They will
People
be able
will
to
think
see
I'm
that.
one.
So yeah, give me Garrick HIGGO. So HIGGO
Okay.
versus Ryder versus Sun Kang. And I like both
God.
of those guys. I don't hate them. but-
I know you don't. Who is your pick? Like who is your strongest pick, the best bet like that you like this week, Reed?
It's going to be another South African.
I almost
Christian-
took him at 8K, but I knew you had him. I knew you
Yeah,
I knew you liked him.
Christian Bezuidenhout. Like all the South Africans, like the UI is definitely how you like when you learn how to spell their last names. Remember that it's the UI. I just think he's look cut T14, T46, T40, T17. Like he's like a miscut at the Houston Open. Like it's not great, but you know that the talent is there. And I'm kind of going with these first time winners, especially in this field. If it's not going to be someone like a Louis, who I also like, or a Brooks, I think one of these players like a Christian Bezuidenhout can do well. We've seen him. He's got multiple wins worldwide. So it's not like he's coming in here cold turkey, not winning. And he's won those in like pretty runaway fashion where he's done well on the weekend. And you take a look again at these tougher courses. He tends to stick around. He might not place high, but I feel like when you get that type of feeling at these tougher venues, then it's going to serve you well. So give me Christian Bezuidenhout as my winner here. 8,000 on DK, and then I believe plus 5,000 on the sports book.
Yeah, so looking at his numbers, he's an elite putter here on Bermuda surfaces too, and has only missed 2 cuts and 8 starts. And that this most recent one was at the Genesis. That's okay. And let's see, top 15 in the field in scoring on difficult courses, scrambling and sand saves. I think you're on to something. Who's your like? Should I even ask you? Like you're going Louis?
No, I mean, like let's be serious here for a sec.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I'm betting Usti. That's my guy for the top. But I don't think he's the best bet. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that betting Louis Usti is in a plus 1,600, plus 1,800, whatever he is now, is like the best value on the board. I mean, that would be silly. I mean, Sobel was at least partially right yesterday when we were talking on this subject. Profitable wise, you have not been profitable betting Louis at these numbers. But you've got every week is different too. You've got to analyze the circumstances. I'll hang my hat on the fact I still think he's the best play up above because he's in the best form, and this is a very good venue for like Open Championship, U.S. Open, good player, like players who play well in those circumstances. But I think the best outright bet for me is actually Russell Knox at plus 65. Like all those things that Reed mentioned about Bezuidenhout, they really apply to Russell Knox. This guy is really, really strong in approach and proximity. And that is what you need at the PGA National, man.
Yeah.
He's finished top 5 twice at this event. The last 5 years don't look good on his course history here, but everybody has a couple miscuts at PGA National because it gets everybody eventually. And Russell Knox has been slowly grinding his way back to form. T7 at the Sony Open, he's put together 3 made cuts. He's very much in the vein of Matt Jones, that if he has a good week around the greens, he is hitting it well enough to win right now. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to, we need to catch Russell Knox on a good week on and around the greens. But if that happens, like he's going to contend here. And I think a plus 6,500, I look at the other players in this range, there's really nobody else who's hitting it nearly as well as him. And I think he's a little bit jacked up in the odds just because no one's really talking about him. He hasn't made the cut here in a couple of years, and people maybe just sick of him. But I think that's outright probably my favorite play.
Okay, well, you know what? He has finished top 3 twice, like at this tournament, and his performance on courses that really shouldn't suit him, including you mentioned some of them out west, Torrey Pines and Riviera here. Like, I don't know, like consistent results, and I know it's been a while, but like, but it's
top 33.
Oh damn, yeah, like literally straight same. I didn't even realize that.
And
but
it
does seem like a pretty good number on him, Jeff.
He's gained like 4 strokes on approach in all those starts, but he's just lost strokes around the green and putting in those starts. And that's the reason he's finished in the 30s and not top 10. He putts even to field average. He probably finishes like T12 in all those events. So that's what I'm saying. It's very much Matt Jones. Matt Jones was playing well, just like Russell Knox was when he's coming in. He just got hot around the greens and around the greens. And Russell Knox can do the same. I'm telling you, he's done it twice already in his career. He's got 2 wins. He's lost in a playoff here before. This dude can win. He's won like over in Europe too. So I think it's a very good number for Russell Knox. I think it's a very good setup. Just with the field too, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about him. I thought he was going to be very popular. I don't think he's actually going to be that popular.
I think it's one of those things where he just always pops in this like here, and then it's sort of the like Webb Simpson at Wyndham kind of thing where it's just so easy to play Russell Knox, and for like people who write articles and this stuff, it's easy to write about him because the stats are there, right? Like the stats are there. He's 8th in approach. He's great, ball striker. If you get a good putting week, you can win. I just feel like I think the missed cuts here, the past couple of years have kind of pushed him down. And like you talked about, Jeff, like he's just one of those golfers that you don't really think about, if you're making the odds, you don't really think about putting him at plus 4,000, right? You don't really think about it unless he gives you a pop week like a T15.
I think people are just sick of seeing him lose like 3 strokes putting too, which he'll probably do again this week after I've built him up. But
and like does the Bermuda putting scare you? Because he's not great on Bermuda greens.
I mean, he's terrible everywhere putting. Yeah. So I mean, I don't really care about the green surfaces, but I don't know. Yeah.
Do you guys think there's anyone in line for, or could you project anybody for a letdown spot, almost like a bet to miss the cut? Like, would you consider like even last week's winner, Joaquin Niemann?
Yeah.
To miss the cut? I think you're getting like plus 250 on him to miss it, just because I get he's young, but you're flying back east. You played some ridiculously hard and stressful golf, and I don't know. You got to think if someone's like maybe in line for a break, prime for a break, maybe it's him.
Yeah,
I think you can consider everybody here to miss the cut, like everyone from start to finish. I mean, you don't have to bet everyone, but you should definitely consider them. I don't really have a favorite out of the top group. I think you can make the argument for Niemann. I mean, I would make the argument for Billy Horschel, who's just kind of been getting by with a hot putter. I mean, if the putter isn't,
he's been great, Billy.
Yeah, he's been great with the putter, but like this is PGA National, so maybe you want to sprinkle on Billy Ho, maybe a guy coming overseas like Lowry or Fleetwood, but I mean, no, there's no like sure thing in this field. Like I said, you're going to see high attrition rates for sure.
What about the defending champ, right? Like Matt Jones.
Yeah.
Plus 125. Yeah.
I mean, like it's crazy to think that he's the shortest, right? Like, so you have to put more to win more, but you got media obligations, you got, people pulling you this way, that way, and the other to talk about the tournament and this, that, like probably talk about the Saudi League and Phil and all the stuff that you don't necessarily want to talk about. You're not used to because you're not really a winner. Like the Rorys of the world and JTs who know how to do this thing. That scares me a little bit, right? Is these like a guy like Matt Jones that even though he gained 5 strokes with the approach last week, it's not really his bag. He lost 4 strokes on the greens. That's his bag. Like, around the green short game, that's his thing. Like the approach has not really been his modus operandi, his MO. So
here's some,
that kind of scares me.
Actually, wait, what was I going to say here? Last time Matt Jones won an event, shut up, Imps. Last time Matt Jones won an event in 2014 at the Shell. The previous year, he did miss the cut in 2015. So in 2014, he won the Shell. 2015, he missed the cut at the same event. I like this. Let's all jump on Matt Jones to miss the cut. Plus 125. Mainly because I'm sick of talking about Matt Jones this week.
Miss the cut. Miss the cut.
I've actually been to this golf tournament too. It's really, really fun, especially that par 3 that's on the back 9 where you got it's like 2 something.
The one on
first one.
Is it the one on 17? Is the one that's part of the bear trap?
I think which one is the longer? Maybe it's the set. Maybe it is 17. Yeah, it is 17.
Okay.
I think they're making it like an amphitheater this year with like stadium seating.
I don't know. They wouldn't be able to get around it unless I haven't been there since I moved here 7 years ago. But like on one side of it, there's a lake, and on the other side on that lake, and it's not very far. There are homes there because it's like within like a neighborhood. But it wouldn't shock me if there is like a way to do it where you just build it over the water or something. Like,
yeah, no, I think it's like at the tee box where they're setting up.
Oh, okay,
like
with the tee box. Okay, that's sick.
Hospitality suites.
It is massive there. The amount of people who show up to this thing, but 17 was always a great hole to post up on. Yeah, the crowds can get a little crazy here too. This is the one I think a few years ago, guys, where it was such a bad look for him. I think it was Justin Thomas who said,
"Oh yeah," and he got the guy thrown out.
Yeah, and the guy was like, "Get in the water, get in the sand," like, and it's just like, come on, dude, you're just so soft. I don't know. He's had to overcome a few.
That was the year he won too, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was.
It was. I mean, good for him, right? Gets the guy kicked down and he wins.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like the Honda has a bit of a waste management feel to it, like on those holes. That's what I'm saying. Like it's a fun event. They've set it up nicely. Like they take advantage of how the course is set up.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's like it does get crazy around the three, like the most difficult stretch. It's like a top 4 most difficult 3 whole stretch in the entire game, like of all the courses that they play, and the people get rowdy on these 3 holes that are already difficult enough. Yeah, like with water and the wind is really bad on those 3 holes too, Reed.
And that par 4 is no joke either in between the par 3s. Like it is right in the teeth of the wind as well, if I'm remembering correctly. And if you're coming down the stretch and you have a 1-hole lead, or excuse me, a 1-stroke lead, and you're good luck, man. Godspeed, because that is tough. I don't think it's going to be as windy as it usually is, so maybe that helps out. But even then, like not as windy as 12 to 15 mph. It's not like 5 to 8.
Yeah, and 18 can be an eagle hole. That par 5 when you close out. We saw Tiger eagle it like years ago, and I think he shot like a 62 or something crazy like in the final round. But it can be. I mean, you've seen Rory have success like on that hole as well. So if you see someone who's within like a stroke or 2, I mean, they're going to be aggressive on that hole, like 100%.
Yeah. I agree. And this is going to be a fun tournament. Don't discount the Honda Classic. It ain't the WM, but like, this is going to be a fun tournament. And, you know, if you want to get your outrights on Friday as well, or Thursday night when the run ends.
Yeah. I think that is a great point. After round 1 is definitely, you can see big swings. We saw it last year. I mean, a guy went from 3 up to 3 back.
I think Sanjay, when he won, it was like plus 6,000 on Friday.
Actually, you know what? Going back to, I bet that I didn't even bet Sanjay pre-event in that tournament. I bet him in running, and it was like, I think it was after round 1. It was in like round 2 when he was starting to play better. It was something like that. So again, great point by Reed. After round 1 is when you want to start looking at the odds, because by the end of round 2, it might be too late. Guys will kind of be where they are. The weekend is just a real grind fest. But I think after round 1 is you got to take another look at the board.
Yep.
Bro, he loves Florida too. I just saw a pretty cool stat. Like he's landed in the top 30 in 9 of 11 tournaments. That he has played in Florida. I don't know.
Maybe a good players bet, Sanjay, this year. Could be interesting.
Dude, Reed, are you going to that by any chance? Are you gonna pop down there?
Yeah, I'm going with you and the missus.
That'd be sick, dude.
I don't know yet. We gotta ask the old P man. Pirates. We gotta ask him if we're going, but that'd be great, right? I mean, we went right before everything hit the fan.
I know, dude. We were landing that day, like 2 years ago, and then like we're in the car ride home. We just landed, and it's like, tournament canceled. Like, no. And then I'm like, it's fine. Everything will be normal in 2 weeks.
I swear, the first time I saw Tony Finau up close and personal in the media tent, and I was a little verklempt.
Didn't you get some pictures there the first day?
No. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Okay. One of our superiors thought it was funny to take a picture, unbeknownst to me, of like Finau standing 20 feet away from me and me not even facing him, and then sent it to everybody, and they put it on the Sweat the next day saying Reed was clamoring over Tony when I wasn't even close to him. He was doing some radio show, and I was like, I'm not gonna bother the man. He's like
coward.
6'4", man. He's a big dude.
Ginormous dude. All right. Well, any other parting words for this tournament here before we wrap up in a couple minutes, Reed?
No, not about this tournament, but I do
Okay.
believe that we're going to see some fireworks in the NFL trade market, mainly Jacksonville Jaguars picking up a marquee wide receiver.
Okay.
That's for
all
next
right.
week's show, though.
All right. You want to do next
Who?
week's show?
Don't-
Okay, sick.
Do you have a prediction for who? I mean, this is
Hey,
interesting.
you got to tune in next week's show.
All right. Okay.
I love it. I'll be doing the show from Jack's next week. So I mean, if you need me to, since I'll have some boots on the ground there, my boots.
You better stop at Chili's and you better take a picture of that Jacksonville Jaguars mural. at the airport.
You know it. One day, Ulrich, you will join in on the airport Chili's tradition there. In,
Hey man, I mean, I'm not messing with Jags fans anymore after this week. They're an
Dead.
organized bunch, apparently. So yeah, no, shout out to the Jags. I got your back. Nick Foles for life. Doug Peterson. Don't forget, I'm the one who said Doug Peterson was a good hire, guys.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's
else
true.
on the sweat said that. So that was
Jeff's
me.
one of us. He's a good dude.
Buchanan and Fowler and those other guys that they're anti-Jags. My last thoughts are going to be Luke Donald, Sung Kang. If you're looking under 7K, just want to drop those names.
Dude, Luke Donald is still alive. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I love you guys. Good stuff. Good show. You both mean the world to me. Thanks, DK. Thanks, Eamon. Love you guys. We are back next week, and Reed's going to bring some hot takes from the NFL world. What?
And you finally got your gifts from Ulrich.
Oh, my God. Hold on a second. Yeah.
I almost forgot.
Oh, Lord.
The whole
Thank you.
show.
Come hither, ladies.
We almost
Oh, here
forgot.
they come. Look at them. They both come out of their crates. This is beautiful. Come on up. Come on. Hey. All right. Well, anyway, it's a llama. Amazing stuff, Jeff. Thanks for finally paying up on your bet that you lost 6 months
Hey,
ago.
look, when Louis wins this week, there's more coming, pal. Trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Look at this. Look at these two. Yeah. All right. Love you guys. I'm out of here. You are too. Bye.